Hi everyone. In this video, we will be discussing about glycogen metabolism. What is glycogen? It is a homopolysaccharide which is made up of glucose unit which is linked in alpha 1,4 linkages at the straight chain and alpha 1,6 linkages at the branch point. So it is a polymer of alpha D glucose, and these glucose molecules, they are linked by alpha 1,4 linkages at the straight chain and alpha 1,6 linkage at the branch point. And this branch point occurs after every 8 to 10 glucose residues. So what are the functions of glycogen? It is the storage form of carbohydrate in the human body, and the major site of storage are liver and muscle. The major function of liver glycogen is to provide glucose during fasting. And when the blood glucose level falls, liver glycogen, it is broken down, and this helps to maintain the blood glucose level. And after taking food, blood glucose, it tends to rise. That will cause deposition of glycogen in liver. So the function of liver glycogen is to maintain the blood glucose level. When the blood glucose level falls, liver glycogen is broken down to maintain the blood glucose level. And after having food, blood glucose tends to rise. At that time, what happens? This will cause the deposition of glycogen in liver. And the function of muscle glycogen is to act as reserve fuel for muscle contraction. All the enzymes related to the metabolism of glycogen is located in the cytoplasm. The substrate for synthesis of glycogen are glucose 6-phosphate and glucose 1-phosphate. So we have already discussed the functions of glycogen. It is a storage form of carbohydrate. It is stored in liver and muscle. So glycogen, it is a highly branched polymer of glucose, and it has both alpha 1,4 linkages and alpha 1,6 linkage. First, we will be discussing about glycogenesis. Glycogenesis means the synthesis of glycogen. This is an energy consuming pathway, and all the enzymes of glycogenesis is located in the cytoplasm. Glucose, it is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. In muscles, this reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme hexokinase. And in liver, this reaction, this glucose to glucose 6-phosphate conversion, it is catalyzed by glucokinase. Now this glucose 6-phosphate is converted to glucose 1-phosphate with the help of enzyme phosphoglucomutase. So glucose 6-phosphate converted to glucose 1-phosphate by phosphoglucomutase. Now this glucose 1-phosphate, it is converted to UDP glucose by the enzyme UDP glucopyrophosphorylase. That is, UDP glucose, it is formed from glucose 1-phosphate and uridine triphosphate UTP by the enzyme UDP glucopyrophosphorylase. So the glucose moiety from UDP glucose, it is transferred to glycogen primer. Glycogen primer is glycogenin. So from UDP glucose, the glucose moiety, it is transferred to glycogen primer. So this primer, this glycogenin, it accepts the glucose unit. And this primer, it is made up of protein carbohydrate complex, and it is a dimeric protein, which means it have two identical monomers. So this reaction is catalyzed by glycogen synthase. So from UDP glucose, the glucose moiety, it is removed and it is attached to the glycogen primer. So if we represent glycogen primer as N, then when one molecule of glucose is added, it can be represented as glycogen N+1. And this reaction, it is catalyzed by which enzyme? Glycogen synthase. So in the next step, activated glucose units, it is sequentially added by the enzyme glycogen synthase. And this glucose units, this glucose units are added to the non-reducing end of the glycogen primer. And what is the linkage? It is connected by alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So glucose unit, it is added to the non-reducing end of the glycogen primer to form alpha 1,4 linkage. And in these cases, only glucose is attached and UDP, it is liberated. So activated glucose units, it is sequentially added by the enzyme glycogen synthase. Now how, as we said, glycogen, it is highly branched. Now how are these branchings created? So glycogen synthase enzyme, it can add glucose unit only in alpha 1,4 linkage. So we have a separate enzyme, a branching enzyme. A branching enzyme is needed to create alpha 1,6 linkage. So when the chain is lengthened to 11 to 12 glucose residues, that is glycogen synthase keep on adding glucose moiety. Then when this chain is lengthened to 11 to 12 glucose residue, what happens? The branching enzyme, it will transfer a block of 6 to 8 glucose residue from this chain to another site on the growing molecule. Then to the newly created branch, glucose units can be added in alpha 1,4 linkage by glycogen synthase. So at this straight chain, the linkage is alpha 1,4 and the branching enzyme, it creates at the branch point alpha 1,6 linkage. So the branching enzyme is needed to create alpha 1,6 linkage. Then to this newly created branch, glucose units, it is added in alpha 1,4 linkage by the enzyme glycogen synthase. So from UDP glucose, the glucose moiety, it is attached to the glycogen primer. This reaction, it is done by glycogen synthase. So glycogen synthase keep on adding glucose moiety. So these are in alpha 1,4 linkages. So these are alpha 1,4 linkages. Now when this chain, it is lengthened to 11 to 12 glucose residues, what happens? The branching enzyme, it will remove a block of 6 to 8 glucose residue from this chain to another site on the growing molecule. So that creates a branch point. So here you can see a branch point, here one branch point. So at branch point, the linkage is alpha 1,6 linkage. Then to this newly created branch, further glucose units are added in alpha 1,4 linkage. So at the branch point, you have alpha 1,6 linkage and at the straight chain, you have alpha 1,4 linkage. Next is glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis means breaking down of glycogen. And when does this glycogenolysis takes place? When the blood glucose level falls, what happens? Liver glycogen, it is broken down and that helps to maintain the blood glucose level. So glycogenolysis, it involves the degradation of glycogen by glycogen phosphorylase, which yield glucose 1-phosphate and glycogen chain that is shortened by 1 glucose unit. So this glycogen phosphorylase, it will remove glucose as glucose 1-phosphate and it contains pyridoxal phosphate as the prosthetic group. And this enzyme, it will remove glucose unit one at a time and this hydrolyze alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage till it reaches the branch point. This glycogen phosphorylase enzyme, it cannot act on the alpha 1,6 linkages which is present at the branch point. So this glycogen phosphorylase enzyme, it will hydrolyze alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkages till it reach a glucose residue which is 3,4 glucose units away from the branch point. So it stops its action 3,4 glucose unit away from the branch point. So a debranching enzyme system which include glucan-transferase and alpha 1,6 glucosidase, it will hydrolyze the branch point. So if glycogen phosphorylase alone act on the glycogen molecule, then the final product is highly branched. That is, this glycogen phosphorylase, it will not act on the branch points. So the final product is a highly branched molecule which is known as the limit dextrin. So the debranching enzyme, it is bifunctional. What it will do? A block of three glucose residues, that is a trisaccharide unit, it is transferred from the branch point to another branch. So this enzyme is called as alpha-1,4-glucan-transferase. Now the branch point is free. Then what happens? The second enzyme, the alpha-1,6-glucosidase enzyme, that will hydrolyze the remaining glucose unit held in alpha-1,6 linkage at the branch point. Now from this branch point, the glucose residue released is as free glucose. So this is the glycogen molecule. So these are alpha-1,4 linkages. This glycogen phosphorylase enzyme, it will act on this alpha-1,4 linkages and it will release glucose as glucose 1-phosphate. When it reaches the alpha-1,6 linkage, it cannot act on the alpha-1,6 linkage. So what does it do? It will stop its action 3,4 glucose residues away from the branch point. So it will stop its action when it reaches here. It stops its action 3,4 glucose residue away from the branch point. Our branch point is here, so it will stop its action 3,4 glucose residue away from the branch point. Now we have the transferase enzyme. This transferase enzyme, it will remove this glucose residue as a trisaccharide unit. It will remove this glucose residue and it is transferred from the branch point to another point. So it removes this, it transfers this trisaccharide unit from here to another point. Now the branch point is exposed. So you can see now the branch point is exposed. So alpha-1,6 glucosidase enzyme act on this alpha-1,6 linkage and it will release glucose. So the phosphorylase enzyme, glycogen phosphorylase enzyme, which is acting on the alpha-1,4 linkage, it produces glucose 1-phosphate. While the debranching enzyme, it will produce glucose. Now the glucose 1-phosphate, which is produced by the phosphorylase reaction, it is converted to glucose 6-phosphate by an enzyme phosphoglucomutase. Then we have glucose 6-phosphatase enzyme, which is present in the liver, that will hydrolyze glucose 6-phosphate into glucose, and this glucose, it is released into the bloodstream. So muscles, it will not release glucose into the bloodstream because they don't have the enzyme glucose 6-phosphatase. So energy yield from one glucose residue which is derived from glycogen is 3 ATP, because no ATP is required for the initial phosphorylation of glucose. And if glycolysis starts from free glucose, only 2 ATPs are needed. Coming to the regulation of glycogen metabolism. So the key enzyme for glycogenolysis, it is glycogen phosphorylase, and this glycogen phosphorylase enzyme, it is activated by glucagon and adrenaline. This is under the stimulus of hypoglycemia. So when the blood glucose level is low, glucagon and adrenaline, it will activate glycogen phosphorylase, which favors glycogenolysis. And key enzyme for glycogenesis is glycogen synthase. This is activated by insulin and its activity is decreased by adrenaline under the stimulus of hyperglycemia. So as we said, glycogenesis, which means the synthesis of glycogen, and glycogenolysis, which means the breaking down of glycogen. Glycogen metabolism, it is controlled by enzyme glycogen synthase and glycogen phosphorylase. The regulation of glycogen metabolism, it is mainly by three mechanisms. One is allosteric regulation, second one is hormonal regulation, and the third one is by the influence of calcium. So first we will see the allosteric regulation of glycogen metabolism. Certain metabolites, they will allosterically regulate the activities of glycogen synthase and glycogen phosphorylase. Glycogen synthesis, it is increased when the substrate availability and energy levels are high. And glycogen breakdown, it is enhanced when the glucose concentration and energy levels are low. So in well-fed state, the availability of glucose 6-phosphate, it is high, which will activate glycogen synthase for more production of glycogen. So glucose 6-phosphate and ATP, they will allosterically inhibit glycogen phosphorylase. Then free glucose in liver, that also act as an allosteric inhibitor of glycogen phosphorylase. Next one is the hormonal regulation of glycogen metabolism. So how do these hormones act? That is, these hormones, through a complex series of reaction, they will bring about covalent modification. What are the covalent modification? Phosphorylation and dephosphorylation of enzymes, which will control glycogen synthesis or its degradation. So the hormones like epinephrine, norepinephrine and glucagon, they will activate adenyl cyclase, that will increase the production of cyclic AMP. So the enzyme phosphodiesterase, it will cause breaking down of cyclic AMP. So the hormone insulin, it will increase phosphodiesterase activity in liver and it will lower the cyclic AMP levels. We will see how is the regulation of glycogenolysis by cyclic AMP. So it is regulated by which enzyme? Glycogen synthase. So this glycogen synthase, it exists in two forms, glycogen synthase A, that is the non-phosphorylated form, and it is the most active form. Then glycogen synthase B, it is phosphorylated and it is in inactive form. So glycogen synthase enzyme, when it is activated, when it is in the non-phosphorylated form, it is activated. Once it is phosphorylated, what happens? It becomes inactive. So glycogen synthase A, that can be converted to B. B is the inactive form. So this glycogen synthase A form, that can be converted to its B form by phosphorylation. Once it is phosphorylated, it becomes inactive. This phosphorylation, it is catalyzed by cyclic AMP dependent protein kinase. Protein kinase, it will phosphorylate and inactivate glycogen synthase by converting the A form to B form. Now the glycogen synthase B, it can be converted back to synthase, that A form, that is the active form, by protein phosphatase 1. So the inhibition of glycogen synthesis brought by epinephrine and norepinephrine, then glucagon, this is through the this is a cyclic AMP mediated process, that is by converting active glycogen synthase to its inactive form. So when the epinephrine or glucagon attaches to the receptor which is present on the cell membrane, the enzyme adenyl cyclase is activated. This activated adenyl cyclase, that will convert ATP into cyclic AMP. Now cyclic AMP will convert inactive protein kinase to active protein kinase. This active protein kinase, it will convert phosphorylase kinase, which was in the inactive form, which was dephosphorylated. The dephosphorylated form, it is the inactive form. Now this active protein kinase, it will convert phosphorylase kinase to active phosphorylase kinase, which is the phosphorylated form. Now activated phosphorylase kinase, that will convert glycogen phosphorylase B to glycogen phosphorylase A. As we already said, glycogen phosphorylase B, it is the dephosphorylated form and that is the inactive form. Now this B form, it is converted to its active A form by the enzyme phosphorylase kinase. Now the glycogen phosphorylase enzyme is activated and that will favor the breaking down of glycogen, that will favor glycogenolysis. So when the inactive protein kinase is converted to its active form, it will inhibit glycogen synthase enzyme. So the two cycles, it will not occur simultaneously. Next is the effect of calcium ions on glycogenolysis. When the muscle contracts, calcium ions, they are released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So this calcium, it will bind to calmodulin Calmodulin is a calcium modulating protein. So this will directly activate phosphorylase kinase without the involvement of any cyclic AMP dependent protein kinase. So an elevated glucagon or epinephrine level, that will increase glycogen degradation, whereas elevated insulin levels, it will result in increased glycogen synthesis. Next is the glycogen storage disorders. So these glycogen storage disorders, they occur due to the deficiencies of enzymes which is involved in the glycogen metabolism. So these deficiencies that can lead to the accumulation of glycogen and inability to use this glycogen as a fuel. So infants born with this disease, they suffer from cirrhosis and liver failure, and most of the infants, they die by the year of 2. So the first one is von Gierke's disease. So it is an inborn error of metabolism. The incidence is 1 in 100,000 live births. So here the enzyme deficient is glucose 6-phosphatase. So glycogen storage disorder type 1 is von Gierke's disease. Deficiency is glucose 6-phosphatase enzyme. So there will be fasting hypoglycemia which do not respond to the stimulation by adrenaline. So glucose cannot be released from liver during overnight fasting. So there will be hyperlipidemia, lactic acidosis, ketosis, hyperuricemia and cirrhosis. Then the children, they usually die in early childhood. Type 2 is Pompe's disease, and this is due to the deficiency of alpha-1,4-glucosidase. So here liver, heart and muscles are mainly affected. So type 2 is Pompe's disease. Type 3, it is Cory's disease. Here the deficiency is debranching enzyme. The symptoms include heart and lung problems, stunted growth, enlarged liver, hypoglycemia and acidosis. So which is the type 1? Type 1 is von Gierke's disease, which is the enzyme deficient glucose 6-phosphatase. Type 2 is Pompe's disease, enzyme deficient is alpha-glucosidase. Type 3 is Cory's disease, enzyme deficient is debranching enzyme. Type 4 is Anderson's disease, enzyme deficient is branching enzyme. Type 5 is McArdle's disease and the enzyme deficient is muscle phosphorylase. Type 6, Hirsch's disease, enzyme deficient is liver phosphorylase.